Who doesn't love a wedding? The Season 2 finale of the McBee Dynasty. Real American Cowboys will showcase the marriage of Jesse McBee and Alli McBee, formerly Ventresca. After more than a decade of dating and a moment of hesitation, Jesse and Alli finally tied the knot. What their guests didn't know, however, was that Alli was expecting during all the celebrations. "We put most of our life out there for the world to see, but this was something we weren't ready to share yet," explained Jesse. Both Jesse and Alli wanted to keep the focus on Cole McBee and Casey Adkisson, who were preparing for the arrival of their daughter, Blair Collins. "We wanted them to have their moment," Alli said. For Jesse and Alli, becoming husband and wife felt more like a formality than a turning point. What truly transformed their relationship was the birth of their daughter, Summer Lee. "We both had to grow up a little bit," said Jesse, adding that their priority has been putting their daughter first. "When Summer came along, it changed us, and only for the better," Alli agreed. Luckily, Jess's brother Stephen McBee Jr. was always close by to lend a hand. "It's funny to see Stephen just be all about the babies, but it's sweet," Alli laughed. "He's taken to uncle life pretty well." Now, Jesse and Alli are enjoying family time on the farm, but their wedding wasn't without drama. In addition to Stephen pushing Jesse about signing legal paperwork, something Jesse ultimately refused, there was also the question of who would be invited. McBee Farm and Cattle Co. CFO Galina Salkowska made the guest list after receiving family matriarch Christy McBee's blessing. Yet, as teased in the season trailer, Galina faced some unexpected issues on her way to the event. "I think either Cole or Stephen ended up telling me about it after the ceremony when we were sitting down to eat," remembered Jesse. "I had no idea anything was happening at the time." Talking parenthood, marriage, and change. Jess and Alli later reflected on their wedding and family life. "GSSE MCBE. Our relationship didn't really change once we tied the knot, but it definitely did once Summer was born. We've both had to adjust, and everything revolves around her now." ALLI MCBE. "We were together for 11 years before marriage. Being husband and wife was just a title change. But once Summer came along, it was a real shift. You learn so much about each other when you're raising a child." When asked about moving full-time to the family farm, Alli admitted it was an adjustment. "It's been fine. I had leave for a while, which gave me a break from commuting. I used to travel back and forth before we had our place in the city, so it wasn't unfamiliar. I don't mind driving." Jesse also opened up about his emotional side, something fans weren't expecting. "I usually hold my emotions in, but it was a lot to process. Alli and I had just found out we were having a girl, and that weighed on me. I let it out, which honestly needed to happen. I was proud of him for sharing his feelings. It was a big step in our relationship, especially as we were about to get married." The couple admitted it was tough to keep their news private while filming. "Very much so. Imagine filming all day and not being able to say anything. It was difficult, but we wanted to keep something just for us. Plus, it was important to let Cole and Casey have their celebration without overshadowing it." Family, drama, and surprises. Jess explained that while the cameras captured everything, they weren't intrusive. "They let us do our thing. There was already enough happening." The prenup conversation with Stephen also stood out. "I understood his perspective. He was looking out for the family business. But Alli has been in our lives for over a decade, and I felt it wasn't necessary. She actually jokes that I should have been the one signing." Meanwhile, Alli wasn't fazed by Stephen's +1 situation. "He asked us about bringing someone, and I was fine with it. By the time the wedding came, I wasn't even thinking about it." As for family challenges, Jesse revealed that Stephen eventually shared difficult news with him and Cole. "It wasn't easy, but it brought us closer. We're tackling things as a family." Through it all, Alli and Jesse say what they value most is the support system around them. AM, Stephen has been a wonderful uncle. It's sweet to see him in that role. JM, uncle life suits him. Dad life is different, but he's doing great with the girls. So what can fans expect from the final? JM, expect the unexpected. AM, be ready for anything. JM, we always bring surprises. A wedding on the prairie, the McBee Dynasty's defining final. Who doesn't love a wedding? In the wide open skies of Missouri, where cattle graze and family legacies carry weight heavier than any branding iron, the McBee family gathered for a moment that was supposed to be simple, romantic, even. The Season 2 finale of the McBee Dynasty, Real American Cowboys promised a wedding, but what it delivered was something closer to a crossroads, a mixture of vows, secrets, and revelations that would ripple through the family long after the last champagne flute was drained. This was the wedding of Jesse McBee and Alli Ventresca, now McBee. After more than a decade together, they had weathered hesitation, distance, and the sort of quiet doubts that creep in during long relationships. Finally, under the prairie sun, they made it official. But as anyone who's watched this family knows, nothing in the McBee orbit happens without a few twists. Because hidden beneath Alli's fitted gown and radiant smile was a secret that even the production cameras hadn't yet uncovered. She was expecting. The vow and the secret. The ceremony was picture perfect, draped in rustic charm. Guests fanned themselves under the summer heat. White roses lined the aisles, and the McBee brothers adjusted their ties with nervous pride. To outsiders, it was a day of laughter, clinking glasses, and heartfelt speeches. To Jesse and Alli, it was also a quiet balancing act. We put most of our life out there for the world to see, but this was something we weren't ready to share yet, Jesse admitted later. They'd chosen silence not out of shame, but out of love for Cole McBee and his partner, Casey Adkisson, who were preparing to welcome their first daughter, Blair. We wanted them to have their moment, Alli explained. It was the kind of unspoken sacrifice families rarely talk about. The choice to hold joy close to the chest so someone else could shine. A love matured by parenthood. For Jesse and Alli, the marriage certificate itself felt like little more than ink on paper. After 11 years together, they had already grown through battles and reconciliations. But when their daughter, Summerlee, entered their world, everything shifted. We both had to grow up a little bit, Jesse admitted, leaning into the honesty that had always been harder for him than for Alli. When Summer came along, it changed us, and only for the better. Alli nodded in agreement. You learn so much about each other when you have a child. You learn what you can handle, and what you can't. Their love story wasn't one of whirlwind passion, but of endurance of the small choices that build a life. The uncle who surprised them all. Among the guests, one figure stood out, not because of his outfit or his speech, but because of how naturally he slipped into a new role, Uncle Stephen. It's funny to see Stephen just be all about the babies, but it's sweet, Alli said, chuckling. He's taken to uncle life pretty well. This was the same Stephen McBee Jr. who often clashed with his brothers over business, who was known for a competitive streak as wide as the horizon. Yet around Summer and Blair, he softened, surprising even his siblings. Shadows on the wedding day. Of course, no McBee event was without its complications. While Jesse and Alli were focused on exchanging vows, a parallel drama brewed. McBee Farm and Cattle Co.'s CFO, Galina Salkowska, had been added to the guest list after family matriarch Christy McBee gave her blessing. But as hinted in the season trailer, Galina's trip to the wedding was interrupted by unexpected trouble that pulled her away before she could even arrive. Jesse only learned of it later. I think either Cole or Stephen ended up telling me after the ceremony when we were sitting down to eat, he recalled. I had no idea anything was happening. For viewers, the drama underscored the unpredictable blend of personal and professional that defines the McBee world. Weddings may be sacred, but business always finds its way to the table. Jess's breaking point. What many fans didn't expect was Jesse's raw emotion leading up to the wedding. Known as the brother who often kept his feelings under lock and key, Jesse shocked his family and viewers when he broke down not once, but twice. "I usually hold my emotions in, but it was a lot to process," Jesse confessed. "We had just found out we were having a girl, and it was overwhelming. I let it out, which honestly needed to happen." For Alli, it was a pivotal moment. "I was proud of him for sharing his feelings. He doesn't do it often. For him to finally let me in like that, it meant everything. It wasn't just tears, it was transformation. The man who once kept his struggles silent had chosen vulnerability on the cusp of marriage." The weight of secrets. As joyful as the wedding was, the couple admitted that keeping their pregnancy private was its own kind of strain. "Imagine filming all day from sunup to sundown and not being able to say anything," Jesse said. "It was difficult, but we wanted to keep something just for us." For Alli, it was about respect. Cole and Casey were celebrating a huge milestone. "We wanted to let them have that space without overshadowing it."